I'm Shirakawa from Ohe. Thanks for joining us again today.
We've been talking a lot about the 2024 problem, but regarding major owner breeders, I'm not exactly sure who they are specifically, but I've heard that the 2024 problem will have a huge impact on them. What exactly does that mean?
Well, as we've been saying, the larger the company is, the more the number of horses they can actually transport will decrease.
Right?
And that means if the horses can't be moved, they stop generating any profit. After all, since horses are considered assets, you'll end up with more idle assets, or rather, assets that aren't generating any income.
I see.
Major breeders need a lot of land for their ranches, which is probably part of the reason, but they're often located quite far off the standard transport routes.
So they're all remote, right?
Remote, yes. And the further off the route they are, going all the way out there really becomes quite a significant risk for the transport companies. Instead of picking other horses, they'd have to specifically choose that particular trip. So, it really comes down to just how efficiently we can communicate in order to get those horses moved.
Right. So without cooperation and understanding, the number of horses that can be moved will drop, right? Especially for those off the main routes.
To use some rough large numbers, if a place that owns 1,000 horses can suddenly only move 500 of them, then the profit from those other 500 is gone. Being unable to move your own horses is a very serious issue. That's why they might have to transport their own horses. Being large puts them in a critical situation. But on the other hand, they have the capital to invest in equipment. If they can take those steps themselves, it would be very helpful for us. Instead of relying solely on existing companies, if we can all share the load, we need more transporters to step up. Otherwise, the number of horses we can move will be strictly limited. So, those kinds of moves are appreciated. I'd imagine that the larger breeders who are profitable every year could make those forward investments. I think it's definitely possible. And forward investment isn't just about the money, it's also about having people to transport them, even if the drivers themselves aren't professionals.
You'd need horse trailers, and then there's the roll calls and maintenance. You'd need staff for all of those things as well.
Exactly. But because they have so many horses, if they want to maintain that scale, they either have to invest more and be proactive, or face the risk of having many horses they simply can't move. It's a tough management decision for those ranches and the owner breeders to make.
But if that happens, wouldn't the sales for ohe end up decreasing?
Oh, well, we've already reduced them actually.
Will they decrease more? Yes.
Well, it's within expectations, or rather, that's why we're raising our rates. By the time this video is released, that date will probably have already passed.
Starting in February, right?
That's right. To put it simply, even without us telling specific clients we can't transport for them anymore, since we're likely the only ones who've sent out notices of a major price hike, orders are going to other companies instead of us. So, we don't have to deal with the hassle of apologizing right now, even if an owner says not to use us. Trainers might still request us, or ranches might still request us. That still happens, you know.
But isn't it actually the horse owner who ends up paying for it after all?
So I asked, are you sure? Shouldn't we be the ones to decline? Shouldn't we explain it to the trainers? But they told me, no, just go ahead and transport them. So I said, all right, we'll do that then.
So even if the owner says not to use ohe, in reality, is the pattern of trainers or their assistants making requests still not that common yet?
That's right. Well, there are many places where we've completely stopped transporting. There are several patterns, like orders just stopping without a word, or them gradually shifting the ratio to others.
Since you're doing various things from different angles, the impact hits the big players and the small ones too. But the biggest impact is on those large ranches that are slightly off the main routes.
Ranches require vast amounts of land, after all. So, like having branches or sales offices in Honshu, some ranches actually have multiple different locations. And it's really not uncommon at all for those to be a bit off the main routes.
Right.
Maybe it's because they need that vast land that it ends up that way. Now, if a new ranch moves onto or closer to a route, that makes it easier for us to drive there. We did get requests at first, but no one can afford to go out of their way. We've gone there before, and other companies must have too, but we couldn't do it frequently to begin with.
There are ranches all over, but they don't really think about the logistics of transport, do they?
That's true. So it might sound like I'm criticizing parcel delivery services, but I'm really not. It's casual, you can ship anything anytime. Although the delivery time from the order date has been getting slightly longer, the image of parcel delivery is that it's convenient and always available, right?
That's right.
And I use the term treated like a parcel delivery service because I think everyone has that same image.
Yes.
Horse owners probably feel that way too. Well, because many of today's owners don't really know what it's like on the ground with horse trailers. So it's probably the same when building a ranch, you know, having a place where information is properly gathered, like for people starting a ranch to feel it's easier if they go there to ask. I wish things were more clearly defined though. Like transport companies can't go to these kinds of places.
Right. It would certainly be good if there were something like an administrative office.
If you knew from the start they couldn't come to this area, you wouldn't build it there, right?
Yeah.
We talked about routes, but it would be most helpful if ranches were concentrated around the shortest, easiest routes for transport companies to take. But if we just keep operating off route and continue to do so, then like we said, other costs are going to start adding up, right?
Yes, of course.
When to make that shift or how to view it, well, that really comes down to each individual's business judgment.
A new place opened up, didn't it? Are you going there?
We are.
Is that okay in terms of the route?
Well, for the most part. But there were some requests I made that haven't quite been addressed yet. It's the same situation in other places too, but especially in the morning. The staff members usually aren't even working yet, so it's a real problem if horses are brought in then, or if they can't be loaded at that time.
I see, okay.
When that happens, it's basically like we're going off-road ourselves, essentially.
Because that extends the time they're tied up.
Even if they're stopped, yeah, they're still being held up.
Right.
We really need everyone to cooperate on things like that too. The more I think about it,
Yes, absolutely.
it's not something we can handle on our own, so everyone involved in horse racing really needs to
Yes.
work together, or we won't solve the problem of horses being unable to move.
Right. It would be really great if a group or organization could actually be formed. Like maybe a council with the organizers, our side, and the ranches all involved.
Well, we have no choice but to do that, and we can make them realize the reality by showing them the data. If they can understand that this is what Shirakawa was talking about,
Exactly. We should take the lead and get everyone together.
we have to do that with a real sense of urgency, or else this racing world,
Yeah. Won't be able to hold races.
we have to do something about this situation where we can't move. It would be fine if everyone had financial leeway, but it would be nice if they did.
Yes.
Well, I suppose some will probably end up being weeded out there. We really need to address this issue urgently and move forward with it. Unless the organizers provide significant cooperation, after all, no matter what a small transport company like ours says, it's not something we can easily push forward.
Right? There are limits, aren't there?
Yes,
Yes. Thank you again for today. I really appreciate it.
thank you very much. At ohe.horseline, we are currently looking for drivers. Please check out our recruitment site or corporate site in the description, and if you're interested, we'd love for you to apply.